A very warm welcome to you wherever you are watching us from. This is Sports 360, and allow me just to start off by sending my apologies for my co-host Grace Mwelu, who won't be able to join us today. She's feeling a little bit under the weather, but hopefully next week she'll be back with us. In the same vein, allow me to join the whole country in sending commiserations to the family of Charles Bukeko, aka Papa Shirandula. Papa was a legend, and yet Sports 360 will remember him as being a very avid fan of AFC Leopards in Gwe. Getting right into our conversation today, we are honored to have within our ranks a man that many of you knew during the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt after a very splendid and solid performance. Ladies and gentlemen, IF Elfsborg's and Harambee Stars defender Joseph Okumu. Joseph, welcome and thank you so much for making time for us today.
It's a pleasure.
Maybe let's just start off with the most basic of questions. Who is Joseph Okumu? How did your football journey start, and was it by chance? What can you tell us, and how has the journey been so far?
I can say Joseph is a soccer player who grew up in Kisumu County, a place called Chemelil. That's where I grew up, and I started playing soccer there, but I didn't take it that serious until I joined high school. That's when I started taking soccer that serious. But everything started when with my coach at Chemelil. He was the kit manager of Chemelil Sugar, the Premier League side. And he was our coach in the team. When he saw the potential, he invited me to start training with the team because I wasn't training with the other kids. I was just training on sides. That's when I started playing. And I got the opportunity to join Kakamega High School. And when I saw the competition there and how serious they were about soccer, that's when I developed the interest. I was like, yeah, I think I'll take it further. I wanna earn a living out of soccer. So that's how it all began.
Okay, and maybe I understand at the moment you're out of action. What can you tell us about your injury? How did it happen, and how long do you expect to be out of competitive action for your club?
We were playing last week. I was just like doing my normal thing. Like I was defending, and then all of a sudden I just felt like a strain on my muscles on my left leg. So I had to, because I couldn't continue playing, so I had to be taken out. And then I did the MRI scans, and I had like a kind of a rupture on my muscles, but it's not that serious, so it will take me 2 to 3 weeks till I resume playing again.
Okay, we hope that you get well soon. Will you say that you've settled into Sweden? How's the transition been? I mean, coming from MLS, United States, and then settling into Sweden, how's the transition been?
I can say it has been amazing. And also, I can say my football journey has been amazing, though it hasn't been that smooth the way people think. But I think either way, all this has made me be who I am now, and I'm grateful to it. When I left South Africa, it took me like 8-9 months before starting playing competitive football again. So when I went to the States, tried to settle in, to fit into a totally different society, try to express myself. And I thank God all went well, and then I got the opportunity to join Elfsborg, and I came in, I'm settling in well, and I hope to keep developing as a player and keep helping the team as well. So I can say I'm having a decent stay now, and I'm enjoying it.
Talking about your team, and I hope I get the pronunciation correct, it's IF Elfsborg, yeah? I can see that you're currently at number 7 after 8 game weeks. What are your expectations for the season? What do you want to achieve as a team when the season comes to a close?
I definitely want to play either win the championship, because it's unfortunate we lost on the cup game semi-finals. But if you look at the gap between, we're on the 7th position, but The difference between us and the second place is only the goal difference. There's no difference in points, it's only the goal difference. So we just hope we can maintain the run and keep fighting for our spot at the top.
Then you've mentioned about all those transitions, having to struggle to fit into a new society from the United States, going from South Africa to the United States, now to Sweden. Is there that particular one player you used to watch when you were a kid, or even you watch up to date, and you say that this is my role model?
Yeah, I have like people I've looked up to in the country, in Africa, and in the world as well. But when I was growing up, I used to look at Brian Mandela. I think you had him on the show last week. We were really close, and it really helped me develop as well. David Owino Calabar. I looked at Koulibaly in Africa, and then Thiago Silva and David Luiz in the world. So those are the people who I'm looking up to, and I'm grateful. Like I had a chance to play with Mandela, and against Koulibaly as well. So hopefully, if all goes well, maybe we have a chance to meet David Luiz or Thiago Silva in the future.
Last week, yes, we did have Brian Mandela here on set, and Brian Mandela said we asked him about one of the strikers that has given him a hard time in his career, and Mandela mentioned a DRC Congo striker who's called Jay Botaka. Personally, who would you say is that one striker that usually gives you sleepless nights whenever you meet him?
I can't really say when I meet him, but there's this guy when we were playing Algeria. In the first few minutes in my first game in the AFCON, I think I had difficulty to cope up with his movements. He's called Buneje, if I'm not wrong. I had difficulty coping up with his movements in the first few minutes until we got the rhythm, and now I had to deal with him. But in the first few minutes, it was hectic.
Yeah, Baghdad Buneja, he was the one who scored the winning goal when Algeria played Senegal in that final in Egypt. Let's go back now that to AFCON. Now that you've mentioned Buneja, and you've also mentioned Kalidou Koulibaly as one of your role models. How was the whole experience? I mean, you being part of that squad that represents Kenya in the Africa Cup of Nations after 15 years. How would you say the whole experience in Egypt was last year?
I can say it was an amazing experience, especially because in the AFCON you play with the kind of players then the top leagues, the quality is like unbelievable. So once you play with people that are ahead of you, I think it's a great experience to get to learn as well and grow as a player. So I can say it was an amazing experience, a learning experience, and it was just a pleasure as well. I can't really say like it was a pleasure for us, the whole team, to be in the tournament. Though unfortunately we couldn't make it out of the group stages, but I think we need to start from somewhere, and the step was to be at the AFCON. So we hope, God willing, the coming AFCON we'll be in the tournament again and probably make progress.
Next up, let me ask you about, now that you have that advantage of having played in South Africa, you played in the United States, in Sweden, is there one particular memorable moment you'll pick out and say, like, this is one of my happiest moments in my career so far?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was asking, is it in the national team or is only on the club level?
Generally in your career, what would you say has been your memorable moment?
First of all, to get the opportunity to represent my country in the Africa Cup of Nations, and my debut as well for the senior national team. Yeah, those are amazing. I also like my first pro contract outside Kenya, which was in South Africa. I still have it in my head till now. It's amazing.
Let's talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. We do understand that Sweden, of course, you are now back in the league, but will you paint for us the picture in Sweden? How did Sweden manage to contain the virus so quickly, in that now your league is back fully operational, and how is the situation generally over there?
the situation is like, it's getting better and better every day. But even if we're playing, there are lots of restrictions. Even when you have the sessions, we are not allowed to sit in the locker rooms. You come like ready to train from home, and after the session, everybody goes back home. You'll freshen up at your place and stuff. You're not allowed to sit in the locker rooms. But with the measures they took, I mean, every country has its own reasons, and they understand that they're citizens. So with this side, it was everybody's given a responsibility to take care of himself. And like, yes, you have the freedom to go out and go to the grocery stores, but just ensure that you take care of your.
I mean, normal there over there in Sweden. Was there anything that you could say that COVID-19 affected me in this particular way? How did it affect you as a person?
Yeah, because most of the time you are indoors, you don't have friends, you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have your family closer to you. And also like, that's when we had just finished our preseason. So like the team was doing good and we were feeling it like, yeah, I think we are ready to go, we are ready to go. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks before we start the league, everything is disrupted. So it was kind of, it slowed us down, but I'm grateful like we picked ourselves up and we're into it now. We're fighting for our spots in the log.
Talking about friends and being lonely, how do you feel over there in Sweden? I do understand Eric Joanna is there, Marcel is also over there, Ovelo Chieng. Do you guys meet up? How do you socialize over there as Harambee Stars teammates?
Once in a while we do get to talk to each other, but not really meeting, because due to the schedules, like after 2 or 3 days you have a match, and like, not that we are super close to each other. It's like Marcel is in Stockholm, I'm in Borås, Joanna is in Jokoping, so not that we are that close to each other, and with the schedules and the timing difficult, so we didn't have a chance to meet and have a chat and spend time together.
Okay, let me come to, when I was coming through your social media pages, I realized there's something about Community Kicks organization, some of the community projects that you're involved in. What will you tell us about that project?
Community Kicks is just like an initiative to try and help the less fortunate people in the community, to try and like, just give a helping hand, try and educate them about nutrition and stuff, and just to enable people feel like they are part of the community. Yeah, that's the main purpose of it.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I saw there was a part you are saying in Kiswahili, wape watoto uwezo wa kujieleza.
Yeah.
Maybe let me just go back to that question that I've been asking about. We do know that the levels of Swedish football is it's very superior to what we have here in Kenya. But what are some of the most basic comparisons that Kenya can learn from Sweden and maybe incorporate into our structures for us to be, maybe one day we can be able to reach such elite levels? Are there anything we can borrow from them?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first thing is to try and create the structures. You know, to create the structures and like, because the only thing they have an upper hand. They have an upper hand because they start, if is to play soccer, they start it at a tender age. You're being taught the basics at a tender age, because we have like even kids as young as like 8 years, they're already training. They're in a team. They train as a team. Of which with us is the contrary. Like, maybe unless you go to a sporting high school, that's when you can maybe start, a coach starts like developing.
In the next 35 years in your career, where do you want to be when we sit back in the next 5 years again and do such an interview? Who will I be addressing you as in the next 5 or so years?
Definitely, the aim is to try and play the highest ranks, the highest leagues in the world. and we are working on it. Like each and every day you step foot on the field. That's the goal you are looking at. Yes, there's the goals like you have to achieve daily or yearly, but we are looking at the bigger goal. And like yes, Wanyama and Mariga, like the team base Olunga, they set up the bar and it's really high. So we need to find somebody who can surpass that, and that's the aim. Yeah, because they gave us a challenge. We need to try and surpass what they said, and to try and lift the other people back in Kenya.
The captain of the under-23, the emerging stars. Do you have any dreams of maybe one day captaining the Harambee Stars national team?
For me, the most important thing is to try my best and to give the best for the nation, to try and represent the country to the fullest. Not really like being like a captain. No, it's not something that I'm thinking of. All I'm thinking of is like to try and give the nation the best. To try for us to be in the to be a regular country in the Africa Cup of Nations and maybe qualify for the World Cup. That's what I'm thinking of. Not like being a captain of the national team. If an opportunity arises and maybe I think I'm capable of doing it, yeah, why not? But it's not something that I'm sleeping off, like just thinking of each and now.
Quick fire segment. Maybe today we won't have the 5 questions, maybe just the 4 quick fire questions. The first question is your favorite EPL club?
EPL? I don't watch that much soccer. I'm not a fan of EPL though.
You are not a fan of EPL?
I'll go with Tottenham because Victor was there though. But I'm not like I never watch that much soccer. I never.
Okay, you're playing safe. Okay, and your favorite...
I'm weird. I know. I'm weird.
Let me ask you then about between Sadio Mane, Riyad Mahrez, and Mohamed Salah. Let's say you're a coach. Who is that one player you wouldn't want to omit? You just have to pick one. Sadio Mane, Riyad Mahrez, Mohamed Salah. If you're a coach and you have to pick only one player, who will you go for?
Wow. That's a hard one. I'll go for Mane.
You'll go for Mane. Why?
Because of his work rate. He can assist, he can score. Yeah, he can defend as well. Yeah, he has the qualities. It's just amazing.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about defenders, but the question I had was something about Koulibaly, but I don't want to ask that because you said Koulibaly is your role model. So allow me to go to Europe still and ask you maybe about Sergio Ramos and Virgil van Dijk. Who will you choose any day?
Why not Thiago Silva? Okay, I'll go for Ramos though. I'll go for Ramos.
I removed Koulibaly, removed Silva from the equation. I also removed David because I knew you would pick them, having said that they were your role models. But Sergio Ramos, good stuff.
Yeah, I'll go for Ramos.
When you come back home in Kenya, what will you say your favorite Kenyan dish is?
Hey. Yeah, I have several. The things I never get a chance to eat this side. I have like green grams, chapati, fish. Especially when I'm in Kisumu, yeah, that's one thing. Like, I don't think I can go 2 days without eating.
I think we wrap it up with there, but I want maybe your final word to somebody who's watching you right now. He wants to maybe reach the levels that you've reached at the moment. What will you tell that young boy or girl who's watching you at the moment?
All I can say is like everything is possible. And one thing we need to learn is there are steps that we can't skip. There are no shortcuts in soccer. Yeah, if there's a level that you skipped, you'll just have to go back because there's a level when you reach, it will expose you. So there's no shortcut in soccer. We just have to try and get the right coaching and stuff. But the most important thing, when I was growing up, I thought talent was enough, but it's not. That's what I've come to realize. Talent is not enough. It's all about the mentality and the mindset.
And that's about that. Thank you so much, Joseph, for making time for us. We are praying for your quick recovery. We hope to see you back on the field there as you try to help your club to achieve those dreams you've talked about. But before I let you go, you said it's IF Elfsborg. That's the correct pronunciation.
Yes.
And what about
Right.
the league? And what about the league?
What?
The league, Allsvenskan or the pronunciation?
Allsvenskan.
Allsvenskan.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll learn that with time. Thank you so much. See you some other time.